Right, it's the 3rd of August, October 2024, and the government are going fucking slam hard on the fucking sell-ups again. Obviously it's a sunny day today, so it's not the best day for doing things. Right, if I can get a say, because obviously it's a bit crooked, all this fucking force against me down in Street, black and fucking blue sec. Yeah, right, so chicken pox looking very cool timed as I go into the communal area of the where the staff office is at supported housing. I've missed the bus, thanks to the government. Yeah, I missed the bus. Can't do nothing, government are causing this shit. Right, so I've missed the bus right down the street, you fucking buckled cunt. Right, I've missed the bus, yeah. That's right. It doesn't make any difference because it's a sunny day, but I'm not very fucking happy about it because that means I'm going to have to pay an extra £2.50 to go on a different alternative. Because it's only first bus, is it? They've got a special offer on at the moment. Well, anyway, like I said, the creator god's fucking buckled as fuck. So I nearly ended up knifed last night, so that's why I fucking ended up kicking the shutter. I am not very fucking happy. I did have a weapon on me, obviously, because obviously you can't go out without a weapon, and that's to cut that person's fucking wrist and throat if he starts a fight, because it's the only way you can deal with people anymore, because obviously the government will try and hit me off. I've got no choice in the matter. You have to blame the government, and if I ever get arrested for anything, I'm going to have to involve the government, because they're the ones that are trying to bump me off, big time, ever since Labour got back in power. They're starting all the fucking set out Zimmer frame times, yeah. Yes, there's a Zimmer frame down in Street, you fucking buckled bastards. My penis goes up over a Zimmer frame, you buckled bastards. Right, so initially, as I walk out, I'm trying to think what happened. A bike timed over a drain cover, timed to an erection. A 3-wheel bike timed to an erection. The drain cover hit over. Obviously I'm burning really bad this morning because someone's using energy weapons. Now I have to suspect it's energy weapons because the burning's fucking intense. And this is what's making me nasty as well. I can't control my behaviour so easy when I'm burning all the fucking time, and it's starting to get to me now, and that's why I'm losing my temper and why I kicked the shutter and had a go at this person yesterday when I was trying to take a picture. But you know, if you're going to burn and be in pain, you know, obviously your body's telling you it's going to reject the pain. You know, it's rejecting what's causing it. So, you know, there's nothing I can do about it. So anyway, so that ends a threat. Straight after, another basic threat just to inject me with HIV needle and to bash my fucking teeth in. But then there's another threat by a crowd pushing a buggy. People in their early whatever, and they have basically what was it I was going to say, to inject me with chickenpox or shingles. Penis up the bike time down here, for fuck's sake, down the street, you fucking crooked bastard. Right, I can get back with the setup. So I reached the main road. So the government need to time a lookalike to someone who sexually abused me as a child, timed as my willy shoots up. And then there's a Make Love Not War t-shirt, a baby bounced about in a sling, and Spill Your Guts t-shirt. After that there's a cheering van followed by a yeah van, so you can obviously, it makes sense that the government's setting this up, but there's nothing you can do about it, and they want to make it suggestive and make it sound like it's unbelievable with the setups. So then there's several hundred black and blue cars in that pattern, almost every single car on the road. So then we're choked by a catalytic converter, there's a sexual car, and then there's a bike angled at me and timed at me, a bike to an erection at me, and then an Amanda Ford car, penis up, and then we get these setups, basically what I'm saying, already mentioned while walking to the bus station. Right, so someone's just laughed at me and basically done a specific type of laugh. It's the same laugh that like an excited sort of ha ha ha, you know, sort of laugh, but in a sort of excited, rough type person accent, and saying burning him with an X-ray. That's what happened, that's what's been said. Right, a seagull says sick cunt being beat up, being smashed. Bike timed, black and blue. Scooter, Gregory, Cole, lorry. Buggy up me, AA van. Choked by catalytic converter, stench about 400 cars. Right, penis up, motorbike timed. Not sure what that is. hang on. Skool, orange car, bow whistles, having a break-in. Molested Sally whistled, red AA van. MKM van, Bradford's yellow car. Abri van, sexual car. 500 cars, 100% at 500 cars, every car is set up. 13 loud motorbikes in that time space of that specific amount of cars, and also 4 bikes to erections. With the Labour Party, obviously, they're getting nasty with their setups. Seth van to apply Stephanie. We're going back to old setups again. We're going back to 2011 setups, or basically whenever Labour were in power. But you know, they're just taking off their nasty malicious setups of where they left, basically. White, grey, red, Curry's lorry, Chic Baxter van, loud bow whistles on the bus, direct van, penis up, bike only, my way, baby in a sling, my way, Duffield's timed, red, black sick, texts occur, and then a phone starts ringing next to me. Then there's flu next to me on the bus. There's a stars, load of stars on a picture on a van. 2 hard sneezes right next to me, and this is by the person that has flu. Go to the front of the bus, white gun looking, UFO looking car my way, and then a controlled traffic for 10 minutes to slow the bus down that I'm on, to hold me on the bus basically. But I can't get off because I've got a return ticket. I don't have my bus pass, so I can't get off. Then there's coughing over me, and phlegm coughing, hard cough phlegm where it could actually hit out upon me. Nothing I can do about it. Same again, bonus and bike only with a flashing light. Right, so next cough and sneezed up. 9 texts. There's a lot of bow whistling when I get off the bus. Then there's a loud bike time to an erection and text in the shop. Another 2 texts, and spit talk goes in my hair for the second time. Started cars, 7 in total. Try drinking a drink after having something to eat, and there's a Dorset Waste Partnership dust cart pushing me aside, and I'm being choked by a catalytic converter while trying to drink. So the government is starting all this fucking crap. Right, so a crow says ha ha ha, and then another one says break in, and then been busted, you child molester, and a few other bits and pieces like that before ha ha ha, and then obviously when I push record it comes to a stop. In the last 15 minutes or so, there's been the suggestion of a specific kind of celebrity, Olivia Binfield. She was on Britain's Got Talent some years ago when she was a girl. Obviously today she's a lady. They're not really making much sense with the setups, but what they are doing is strongly suggesting that person's name, and in some ways the surname as well. Things in that area. This is like on wording on vehicles or whatever and stuff like that. It's not really going anywhere, so I can't work out any other suggestions. All it appears to be doing is suggesting the name as it stands at this minute in time. I don't know what the weather forecast is for today, but because the whole day's been blue skies and sunny, it's pretty much like that for everybody in my area, because I've gone on the bus and literally everywhere you go is sort of blue skies and for miles on end. So it's pointless me doing a documentary, because I only do these documentaries when I feel that is being targeted only around me, so I'll leave it there. Right, there hasn't really been many problems in the last hour. I've been choked up by a catalyst, drain covers it over, and I had to walk out of the shop because obviously someone was spit talking and it went in my hair, and it was just too busy in there to get served, and I gave up. Then there was a baby in a sling, black and blue car, drains it over. Sick cunt, yeah, he's a sick cunt, bash him instead while trying to take a picture. Then before that I went to take a picture of a signpost as well, and I got evil looks by a half sexual lady walking in my direction, age about 35-40. Right, so there's evil-shaped, knife-shaped headlights. A sicko threat by, I don't know how to describe the sort of attraction lady, but it's very similar looking to Natasha Hart, H-A-R-T, who is connected to Callum Evans and Amy Weston side of the family. I can't think of any celebrity to put this against, so I've got to say the name, unfortunately. Well, there was a sicko threat. Stabbing with HIV, said. Choked by started catalytic converter at the bus stop. Penis shoots up to bike only, and blue car after. Right, I've gone out again, but I've got a lot to mention because I can't mention it because I need to be in a quiet area. But let me just say something. On the usual corner where they keep trying to hit me off, they've just actually caused a car to skim me where the government are trying to hit me off. They're actually trying to get rid of me. They want me fucking gone. But there's no reason to get rid of me. They just want me gone. There must be something, whether it's my music I listen to, whether it's my evidence of being accused of rape when I've never had any sex with children or women or whatever. I don't know what it is, but they want me fucking knocked off fucking fast. The government are getting really, really fucking nasty about it. I mean, not just nasty. This is the nastiest they've ever got. Right, I found some form of place where I can speak. I just want to let you know that farm track again, where there's only 1 or 2 houses. Yet again, they managed to time a car that has a catalytic converter and I'm choked by the catalyst. There's only 1, 2 houses up there and possibly something at the top of the road. That's it. A field or something like that. How are they doing it? How are they getting that done every single time I pass that road? I can't make that out. I mean, it has happened quite frequently, especially in 2022, in the end time of 2022 and sections of 2023. But how? How's it being done? How do they time it on the nail so that when I pass there, there's a car that's passing down there? I don't quite get that. I've had a lot of people start on me in the town, wanting to smash me in with a knife, saying that I'm a fucking screwball and got to be beat up. I did a documentary yesterday saying I am starting to lose my temper, but I've had to put up with people starting on me 43 fucking years, you know, quite literally since my childhood. People have been starting at me, digging at me, shouting at me, fucking persistently. They've taken sexual partners away from me from ever getting a partner, especially when they were teenagers and in their younger age. They're telling me I'm a sick cunt because I won't go with a granny. They're telling me they're going to fucking knife me. I've had bottles smashed across my head. I've been thrown in the canal, and at the time I've been thrown in Bridgewater Canal was just was 3 days after someone's body was in the canal where someone fell in or got murdered, and all the evidence and the underwater search team were there, and I could have got in trouble, you know. So I was walking back drenched, even though I was helped out. I'm not very happy that my body was, I was thrown in there. And it's the same crowd, one of the people in the same crowd that pushed me in there that actually helped me out. And also someone tried, when I was walking back in the early hours, someone was cycling a bike, he got a knife out and he wanted to fucking smash me in with a knife. And I had to get past him quick, and he had the bike on the side of the canal. And I didn't actually push him in, but I was trying to get past him fast as I could without him falling in, but he actually fell in. He threw a punch at me, and as he threw a punch towards me, he pushed his bike and himself into the water, and his dog went in, which was a pit bull terrier, I think. And then shortly after, the police make arrest on me, and that's brought up in the police arrest when I was only sort of, well, I wasn't even guarding myself. It's his punch that actually pushed him in. Obviously I moved him a little bit, but not to a point where I pushed him in the water. And he started shouting, saying, I'm going to fucking kill you, I'm going to fucking knife you to the fucking floor. I got a fucking, what was it said? I got a 9-inch fucking blade I'm going to fucking smash you in with. So yeah, it got pretty nasty. But, you know, again, it was when, in the time period Labour was in power, so, you know, they're definitely wanting me all hit off, and so was the Fathers for Justice event, when they knocked the lighting system down in my place. The CCTV camera went down. There's a Connaught van and the rent-to-kill van parked out my place. The squib in the Palace nightclubs were extended hours, and when the scaffolding was put around my place, it's because they needed to fit new windows in, and that sort of thing. So obviously the government wanted me hit off. and obviously on the TV they were going on about Fathers for Justice. But because even the nastiest enemies that I had at that time knew what was going on, that the government are trying to hit me off, even the nastiest of the nastiest calmed down and left me alone. And some actually said alright when they saw me in the street or tried to make friendship or whatever. It wasn't all one-sided. It is today, and it's been one-sided near enough since I moved to Burnham-on-Sea. As soon as the Savannah and Liam threat came in, that is it. I've had my wrist and throat cut. Right, so let's get on with the story of this evening, shall we? So initially I was going to go uptown, I was going to buy some alcohol, and then after that I was going to basically possibly go to see some people at the Kingdom Hall, which is a Jehovah's Witness meeting, but there's a couple of people that I've made friends with when I sort of went there just to have an experience, basically, because I remember doing it in the 1990s and I just wanted that, test that experience and see what it was like and see what they're, you know, and they seemed pretty friendly people. But initially I was being mistaken as Savannah, and it started happening very mildly again. But because of all the people that are starting on me in the town, I had to rearrange my schedule. And obviously I have got a weapon on me. It's not a knife, but if someone tries smashing me to pieces with a knife, I will have to cut their wrists and throat. I'm not a nasty person, I'm not a dangerous person, but I've been left in jeopardy where the government are trying to hit me off, and they're putting these types of people in my direction to get rid of me. And I've got to be prepared for this. It's the government's fault, you know, they're causing all these people to be in my direction. Let's put it this way, since the lockdown, they've timed, quite literally, the nastiest people they can possibly put in my path. And it's not the same type of people, it's not the druggy type people with pit bull terrier dogs. It's the rougher types of people, the bearded types of people, the ones that are starting on me, threatening to smash me in, to kill me, to knife me dead, to inject me with HIV or snake venom, or to fucking absolutely fucking kill me, or to break in, or to smash my windows, or to set me alight with petrol, saying I'm a child rapist or woman beater or whatever. A woman rapist, a child beater, you name it, it just goes on and fucking on. So anyway, I had a load of threats to start with. However, when I passed Wetherspoons, there wasn't any threats at all, hardly. There's just a few remarks. I think 2 people made a remark. I'm thinking that I was Savan, one of them. Another one said my name, Justin, but unfortunately it comes with the same threat as Savan. Thinking that I'm a guitar player and going to smash me in and a child rapist, so you had that. And there was a break-in threat, which is not bad for passing Wetherspoons, because that's where all the rough people sort of hang about. And then obviously at the 94 club there was a conversation there too. Now I didn't get any threats today, but there's a conversation like questioning who I was when they walked past, sort of threat, but it didn't go into any violence, or it just sort of was a tame conversation. However, when I walked to Tesco's, say like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, could have been later, I can't remember, which was on a Thursday a couple of weeks ago, I did get threats from the 94 club. Right, so we'll get to the issues going out, shall we, the best I can, because obviously it's very difficult. So you had all the traffic as heavy as fucking as you can fucking possibly get it. So there's about 500 cars roughly, and obviously I had to jump in between the cars to get across the road because it's just too packed. I wasn't in the mood for waiting for the cars. You had black and blues and sectoral cars. Just before that, someone from the army cadets, or whatever it is, where they teach them army moves and that. I was being told that I molested a specific man's name. Now I'm not going to say who they're telling me that I've abused, but they're getting fucking muddled up, and obviously it'll cause family issues if, you know, it'll cause trouble for family if I say the name or whatever, but they're getting absolutely confused. What's happened is they possibly think I'm Savan, and what he's done is coming back at me in a twisted way, if you get what I'm saying. So they don't have a clue, but there's nothing you can do about it, and obviously I have to put up with the threats that are slammed down my throat, unfortunately. There's nothing I can do about it, because the government are causing the media and the TV industry and the music industry to be twisted against me, and it's causing all this fuck up to occur, and causing all this misery and all this fucking trouble, and you name it. And that's why I can't live my life properly anymore, because the government are trying to destroy it. I remember when they tried pushing me into work, sending me a letter to push me into work. There's a specific place I had to go to at Western Supermare, and at a specific time, and obviously they want you to be there something like half an hour early before the appointment took place. Well, if I was walking down that specific street, I can't remember the name of the street now, on that specific day, they would have aligned a nice knife attack to occur, which killed someone. It killed someone, but if I was down that track on that specific day, it would have been me that got knifed. I mean, and possibly it might have got that other person might still have got knifed, but the thing is, I would have been in that place at that time when they were pushing the mentally disabled people into work, and I had to sort this out. If I walked into that person before that other person, because I would have been on that path at exactly the same time, I would have ended up knifed in hospital dead, because this person who got knifed ended up dead. And it was in the newspapers, I think, and I think it might have been on the news, I'm not sure, but I'm definitely not making it up. So anyway, let's get to the next section of going into the town, shall we? So Wetherspoons, there wasn't too much problems. There was just 3 remarks, and one of those people were mistaking me as Saven, calling me a child rapist and saying I'd being beaten and stabbed with a knife and having a break-in. Basically the same threat, but with my name Justin mentioned by the other 2 people. And I think one said he's being fucking shot, and I think that's the one where he said my name. Mild for Wetherspoons, because obviously Wetherspoons is a place where I usually get a lot of threats. At the 94 club, there's someone that was having a conversation thinking I was Saven, sort of going this way, and then saying my name Justin, and sort of, it didn't branch out into anything nasty, but I have walked up there, past that several weeks ago, when I went to go to Tesco's, and this was me doing a walk on my own to Tesco's, at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So I walked through Yeovil town, and went up right to the top of the town, into Yeovil, into Tesco's, bought what I wanted and need to buy, and then came back. It wasn't too bad considering, but passing at 94 club, I did get quite a nasty threats to smash me out, and saying if they got a knife on them to, but they don't use a little pen knife. They're talking about using a proper kitchen knife on me, and obviously that was then, but there's nothing you can do about it. The government have put me in the they've basically, they want me hit off, basically. That's the best I can say. Right, so 2 more mild threats or remarks. There has been quite a few people that have passed me with no trouble, mind, which is surprising, and quite rough types of people, mostly in their mid-20s and early 30s. So there's a sneeze next to me, and then spit talk hits my face. Then there's 2 sneezes that occur directly in my face. Then obviously there's spit talking that hits my eye. As I walk out the shop, time to the split second I walk out the shop, someone sneezes directly at me, but this person does have the decency to put her hand in front of her mouth, but quite literally I'm walking out and she sneezes directly into my face. I mean literally less than a foot away, quite literally, as I walked out the door. So my penis shoots up in his loud bike, and then an RAC van. Same again with a loud bike, and 4 more loud bikes, 2 9 times loud bikes tied to an erection. Being stabbed, you're weird as fuck, said. You're fucking Sangarava, I can't remember what was said. You're being fucking knifed, said. And saying that I molested, I haven't written the name down, I've forgotten what it is. Then I'm sneezed at again. Someone says his name's not Justin, getting stabbed to death with a knife. Then I'm choked by catalytic converter setup, where the path is very controllable. I'm trying to avoid everybody on the path and trying to get out of the way of sneezing, but it's the way it's constructed around me. You're just in a trap all the time, and it's 24/7. You can't do nothing about it. Right, getting stuck with HIV, dead next week, said. And then I forgot the next load of threats that occurred, because the government are trying to hit me off on the road on the corner, which is a corner, I think I've already mentioned it in this recording, where oh, let me think. They keep on pushing me onto the overside, the bigger side of the road, which is slightly longer that you walk. And what I tell you, that They did it in the summer, tried to push me on that side of the road to keep me in the sunshine. But they're doing it on purpose so that they can stack and pile as much fucking traffic against me as they can fucking stack in my fucking direction to cause as much havoc, as much trouble, and as much shit stirring, and as much inconvenience, and as much danger as they can fucking slam in my direction. I don't know how they're doing it, but they must have some form of noetic science technology using the media and music industry and radio and what's on telly to control everyone's movement, to try and play mind control so they can rig everyone's fucking movement into my direction to cause as much fucking trouble as they want to fucking cause. There's nothing you can do about it. The government want me fucking gone. But that's that. Right, so finally at the catalytic converter hot point there's just one car today. But I can't remember what colour it was, but it's on a recording I was mentioning, but I deleted it off to redo it because I wasn't happy with the recording. But I did actually get the evidence of the car passing when I did the recording. Right, as far as burning goes, it has been quite bad. I've actually been quite bad all day today, in fact. There was burning this morning, which was really bad, which pissed me off. And in sections throughout the night. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5, 6 and 7 and 8, I kept waking up and I felt it then. I'm not sure what's causing it. But what's interesting is throughout the day today, that burning has been on and off throughout the day as well, and I haven't actually been at home. But the thing is, when I was camping out earlier in the year, I had that problem where I was burning when I was out for most of the day, on and off. But when I camped back and came back in the early hours of the morning, so it's not early hours, but sort of early morning, say 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, I started to recover where I was feeling normal again, and when I got into my place I started burning again. So I ain't got a clue what's fucking causing it, but this is not the reason I'm doing this walk tonight. I've had to rearrange my schedule for several reasons. Right, so there's been a gunshot and there's been a loud bike tying to an erection. It looks like I've forgotten to read out the sheet of the stuff that occurred, the second part of the when I got through onto the other side after I cut across that corner where the cars were colliding. So there was another loud bike tying to an erection 9 times loud. The people in the car park where Hollywood Bowl is in Yeovil, as I was climbing up the hill, said fucking stabbing with HIV, fucking lunatic, molested children, said. I can't guarantee this is what I saw on the t-shirt as the proper writing. I did actually phone the staff up at supported housing to inform them that there's a possibility that someone's wearing a t-shirt that says "take a knife beating." That's what it looked like it said. It might not have said that, and I did tell them it might not have said that, but if it did say that, that's the first time I've ever seen that t-shirt, and I can't see why anyone would wear a t-shirt saying that, but that's what it says. It says "take a knife beating." Obviously I could have mistaken the wording on there, because it was twilight, you know, and words can look a bit different, and obviously it was distance, but just keep that in mind just in case it wasn't. So if that is the case, then that's what the t-shirt said. Right, recently I've been drinking a lot of vodka and gin, and the reason for this is because my days are getting so low. But I have noticed that and also things were getting nasty as well. All the threats and all the trouble was increasing, and that's why I started drinking the stronger spirits. So I've done this for about 3 weeks now, quite literally from the very first time I've ever walked this part of the road. I've never walked this road before. It's only 3 weeks ago I've actually walked this road I'm walking on now. I mean, it's near to where I usually walk, but I've never actually walked this road. So worth mentioning. Right, the government are fucking about on this road now. Right, so the car's got to reverse up so that I can get through, in order to let the car behind get through. That's right. Our drain cover hit over as well. And there's also arguments by the sound of it in the football pitch and whatever. something rather, I couldn't make out what it was. And they're dead, said. HIV just said, so what I need to do is I need to get a syringe filled up with fucking weed killer and not use coward substance like HIV. Use proper murder substance, because that's what murder is, proper substance. Weed killer, bleach, rat poison. Only this cowards use HIV or AIDS or shingles or whatever. Fucking knifing Friday, he said. But this is a problem. This is why you got to cut people's fucking throat and wrist in a fight. It's simple as that. I don't carry a knife, but because people are not safe anymore, any fight that takes place, as soon as that punch is thrown, when the second one's ready to be thrown, you've got to actually be ready and prepared to actually cut that person's throat and wrist, because you don't know how unsafe people are now, because too many people are absolute fucking screwballs and dangerous lunatics that want to take people's lives. Many have said recently, and so I've seen the fights as well, they basically say if you don't start going down in a fight, what they do is they get a knife out and then they finish the fight with a knife. And it can go into murder or it can go into someone being left in hospital. But in modern fights, which is sort of becoming more frequent now, is to actually cut that person's arteries to take their life that way, or to put them in hospital. And the problem is there's too many people that are doing it. Most fights that I see, there's a lot of blood and you can see arteries that have been cut. So you can see how nasty fights are getting now, and you can see why that's the only way you can deal with a person that's having a fight with you. It's not nice, but you know, there's nothing you can do about it. You're dealing with fucking screwballs now. You're dealing with fucking roughneck people. Reptilian hybrid bred types of fucking loonies. So you might end up in jail, but you've got no choice in the matter. If you want to keep yourself alive, you're going to have to use these tactics if someone starts a fight and you don't know that person. And a lot of it's sexuality as well, so it's all because of sexuality. And it goes back to 99.9% of all problems is caused because of sexuality in my whole life. So you've got to take that into account as well. I've made many documentaries that I put on Facebook and YouTube regarding this issue. But, you know, I'll leave it there on that. Although there's been some negative stuff said this evening, I have to admit that football pitch where they're playing football is actually quite calm tonight. So, that's a change. Going back to fights and stuff like that, the police they cover up a lot of the violence and the murders that take place in fights. So when you read stuff in the newspapers and there's like, you got one knife attack in like 1 month or whatever that's being advertised, you know, in say a newspaper or on television, is actually a lot higher than that. But they can't, because it will look bad on statistics if they put it on broadcast it on television or whatever, or on the news, it's going to make the UK look like the worst slum ever. So they don't usually tend to mention that type of thing. But let's put it this way. Home Finder, Somerset, which is council bidding register, you know, for moving, almost every week they advertise a place where there's extreme violence, where knife attacks occur, where murders taken place, or where windows have been smashed through. Nearly every week, especially for 2024. So that just gives you an example how nasty it gets. So you're having a break-in. He's afraid of being fucking knifed out, said. Now the throats are starting to pick up. It's going to be mixed with like the regular happy sporting talk, but there's bits and pieces that are being that are separate to that are being shouted or said. Sick cunt, yeah, being beaten to death. Yeah, said. Let's get with the statistics of knife attacks This is not an accurate figure, but it's a rough amount, because I've forgotten what the actual figures are, per week, for specific areas. So in Taunton, it was something like 60 knife attacks per week. In Bridgewater, I think it reached 120 on one occasion, or in that area. I'm not sure what the exact figure is, but roughly around that in 1 week. In Burnham-on-Sea, there was 3. In Highbridge, there was 19. Like I said, I can't remember what time period this is, and I can't remember. This is just sort of statistics that I remember seeing, which obviously they can't publish in the newspapers. You know, because obviously it's not going to look good. They do make it, if it gets really bad, they do make it a suggestion that things are bad or there's a knife attack or whatever. But Bridgewater Fair, I mean, what year was it? 2011, I think. Oh, no, yeah, 2011 or... Yeah, I think I can't bloody remember. 2011, 12 or 13, I can't bloody remember. There's 3 knife attacks at that fair. Only 1 got mentioned in the paper at Bridgewater Fair of that year. I'm trying to think what year it was. It was 2011 to 2013. I don't think it's 2012. I've lost my bearings on that. I know, but I just can't remember at the top of my head. I will mention something else. When the person got arrested for the knife attack, obviously there's no guarantee who did the knife attack, and I say this for several reasons. They mentioned someone's name in the Bridgewater Mercury of who was the knife attacker at Bridgewater Fair, and they put the wrong picture of the person on the Bridgewater Mercury of who the knife attacker was at Bridgewater Fair. So whoever it was, I don't know, but whatever it is, the name they gave, that was not the correct picture of the person that committed the knife attack at Bridgewater Fair. So they used it because obviously this person's name would have to match the picture, and it didn't. They got another picture, or they put the wrong picture on there. So someone was either accused of it, or someone gave false details and they got that picture on there instead. But either way, that definitely happened when it got published in the Bridgewater Mercury. Well, I wonder what tonight's going to be like, because last night I passed specific, I'm not sure what the name of the road is now, before it's St Christopher's Way, I'm not sure, something like that. I might be wrong, and I haven't approached it yet, but there was a person playing a flute or bow whistling, dribbling out whistles, and there was some threats to say that I'm a child rapist and that you're having a fucking break-in and being smashed in with a fucking knife. So I'll let you know what the name of the road is when I reach her. Right, so the name of the road of where this incident happened yesterday is Daniel's Field Road. Actually, I got the wrong, I thought it was Christopher, it's not, it's Daniel, so that's the name of it. You don't have the threats that you had down here last night, but you do have the setups, and you do have the people here and there, but obviously not threats. It's definitely busier than what it was last night, even though I've just written a few things down actually. Just a car issue, train cars hit over, penis up motorbike, 8 times loud, and red car timed. There's a few other bits and pieces, but I'll keep it short and simple because I just want to keep the main stuff. And then obviously I'm going to have to pass a car that's started as a catalytic converter on it. Right, so the last 15 minutes has been quite a lot of trouble. One, I forgot the beer. Obviously I drink my spirits with beer, and obviously we had the setups there. There was a person in a police car that shouted, you're sick, you're a fucking sick cunt, you're being knife dead, you sicko, or something like that. But he didn't say it. He put the sirens on first. The police sirens went on first before he shouted it, and this was a bearded rough type police officer. Doesn't have a clue who I am. I've not seen him before. Then there's a few started cars. There's a few minutes while I'm sorting out my bag and all the rest of it. and then going and walking back down the track I was down earlier. So someone in the football, well, I don't know if it's a football field or somebody somewhere else, said molested Sadie Justin being bashed in. And then obviously you got loud bikes to erections. I don't know what that was. That sounded like a gunshot, illegal type. Oh well, because I didn't hear it properly, I can't state that. Could be anything. It sounded like someone said, "You're Savannah Justin," from a distance, but I can't guarantee that. I will mention something. The road just up here is 5 times busier than the first night I came up here walking this, which was in the time period the shop was open, because obviously it's shut now because it shuts at 9. So and that was on Monday night, and I've been up here every night since, and today is Thursday. Tuesday was a bit busier, not much. Obviously last night was very awkward. There was quite a lot of traffic, but it wasn't hectic. It was more in the way of threats, a lot of people and a lot of threats. However, tonight it seems to be a compilation of it all fucking slammed at me. Right, so we have black and blue, black and blue, black sick, black and blue, black sick, black and blue, black sick, black and blue, black and blue to white. Temperature controlled RB, whatever that means. Right, and then I haven't written that down yet. So we had another black and blue. You've had a black, beastie looking, long van type vehicle car, hard to say what it is, big Battenberg van. Then a grey, and then black grey. Black, black, black. And on a sick. And another sick colour car. Yeah, and another one, so there's 3. And then black and blue, white, and then grey. Another black done looking vehicle. Then the RB lorry and whatever that is. I've forgotten what that is now. I think it's a grey car. And a cardo van, but it doesn't make a suggestion. Right, breaking in, Justin said. And they're packing this fucking road of traffic. The maximum, even in, well, like I said, I've only been down this road 5 times. The record breaking amount of cars or vehicles in this direction was on that sunny day, where there was 7 cars, and that Somerset Waste partnership that forced me into the hedge. I said, "You're fucking dead," or something like that, as he passed, and couldn't do nothing. I couldn't film it because fucking catalyst. Because of that, you know, because of the situation I was in. I will mention in the threats in the last several years is people saying that you're having a break-in. They're not just saying that you're having a break-in, they're saying it's going to be continuous. So once you've had a break-in, you're getting another break-in, and another break-in is going to keep on going on and going on like that. So this is, you know, and I always mention in sexuality. Well, as I mentioned yesterday in the documentary yesterday, I've not had anyone in my whole life when it comes to sexuality. Never had sex with a woman or a child. Yet I'm the one that's being nailed as a sick cunt and got to pay the price of capital punishment and all this enforced action. I mean, let's put it this way: these evil bastards that are setting up this construction force around me to tell me they're going to rip me to fucking pieces and take my fucking life away, you know, all this government action against me or whatever's causing it. Take into account they've had sex with people that are in their teens, 20s and 30s, or under the age of 40. Yeah, I'm known as a sick bastard if I don't go with anyone under the age of 40. So why are these bastards doing it when they've all had sex with people under the age of 40? Because they're the ones that are sick bastards. If they got me down as a sick bastard for not having sex with anyone over the age of 40, because I'm 43. So why then is this organised force being corrupt against me, unless it's been set up by people that are over the age of 40 that have never had sex in their life, of course, which is very unlikely. So that's fucking questionable, isn't it? Not set up as such. Oh, drain cover it over. Yeah, you had that. We have 13 cars on this road. That's record breaking, believe it or not, for this time of the evening. At least I think it is. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, because I've not actually been up here at this time in the evening. Obviously it's like 9:30 at night, so apart from Christmas and maybe a couple of the times where I sat in the graveyard or had to do a phone call when out at night, yeah, there's got to be record breaking. Not many, but 13's record breaking for that part of the road. As far as this road concerns, the record breaking amount of cars that's occurred on this road is after 9:30 PM at night is somewhere between 5 and 7. I'm not quite sure. There's only been one at the moment. There's one other thing I was thinking of. You know, I mentioned I'm always walking into the nasty people and threats and whatever else. I've never really sort of mentioned how often I walk into people that are dressed smart, you know, like with a blazer, or have sort of standards, or normal types of people that are calm and friendly. Well, let's put it this way, it's as rare as seeing a sexual female. That's how rare it is. Right, I've just had a blue laser shot in my fucking eye. Yeah, I just want to mention the category of music is one of my favourite categories, because obviously, favourite subjects, because obviously I like music. But I've never really gone into details of what sort of music I would listen to if I had a break-in or stuff like that. No, all this is sort of all has occurred in the past, and where I've had my stuff stored at the garage. So there has been break-ins in the past, and it's caused me to lose 3/4 of my jungle stuff. You know, the old school jungle stuff. I no longer have any live recordings from any jungle mix or anything at all when it comes to jungle. So all the illegal mixtapes or the illegal mixes, I don't have a single illegal mix anywhere. When it comes to illegal jungle tracks, like the very dark cultic tracks or the unreleased sort of stuff, I don't have any of that either. When it comes to underground commercial stuff, that's extremely rare, or on the borderline to not illegal, but the borderline, you know, the darkest and deepest you'll get in commercial boundaries. Well, that'd be tracks like Dope Travelling Part 2, Intense Paradox, The Alliance First Impressions, Pesce World of Music, Mental Power Unknown Intelligence, Rough with the Smooth Twisted Girl, The Anthill Mob 123 Adrian Blunt Remix, Making Ground Take Me Higher Ragga Mix, Rev P 1994, Nutty One off the Nut EP, which includes Liquid Affray and Underwater Fireworks, and others as well. So that would be known as commercial, but the rarest and most underground of the commercial boundaries. And then obviously when we go into deeper stuff, we go into like the cult stuff, or the stuff that's not been released, which is sort of the unofficial pirate material, which they're not allowed to really put on the shelves, to be fair, because they're selling it illegally back in that time. Well, I have some legal tracks, but no illegal tracks. Actually, a lot of the illegal tracks I don't actually know myself by title, to be fair. Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that I'm into is sort of... Well, I was speaking to one DJ going back along on Facebook called Lewis, who was DJ Problem Child, and he says a lot of the stuff I'm into is commercial deep. But you can get like commercial dark as well. And obviously, you know, there's all sorts of different types of jungle, like the cultic stuff, but the stuff that's literally impossible to get or even know the titles to, then you're looking at the stuff like a specific track that I mentioned going back along, which makes a suggestion of it has like a futuristic driving force against it. So you've got like a very deep, moody, low down track, but it gives like an on edge feeling when you listen to the track, because it makes a suggestion of things warping in the music when you reach the breakdown part of a specific track, which I'm looking for the title to. And this is probably what you'd call an illegal jungle track. So basically what happens is it makes a sound like the music came out in the medieval days. So the samples that it's used is very soulful and very low down and very hypnotic, but at the same time it's got that sort of dangerous type of feel to it, like it's got Satanism in it or cult samples that, you know, it just sounds like it's not right, you know, and it's got like a driving force to it, but got that feeling of eeriness right across the whole track, but very lonely sounding. It's not a track that's, it's not aggressive, it's different, it has a different description to it. It's like a lonely type, it's like it's a track that singles you out in a lonely place with no one around, and it's like evil atmosphere that's overcoming the track. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how a person can actually make a track that sounds like that. It sounds a bit unreal, to be fair, because it sounds very cultic, you know, it sounds like it's had some form of witchcraft or something that's been used in it. But you know, if you were to play it on a system, you think to yourself, well, you play it on a system, I'm surprised that the system won't break or it won't curse the system, you know. It's that sort of dangerous. It's dangerous, but it gives you a thrill. It's good in that sense, but it's certainly not a track that I would consider as being safe to listen to. And it's also, just to make it worse, it's even creepier than all the stuff that's on this cryo chamber dark ambient label in America. So it goes beyond that depth as well. But anyway, this futuristic breakdown part is done in a futuristic way, so it's got a drive to it. So if you look at like Most Haunted, the backing thing, which I think is called In the Clouds or something like that, where they took that sample from, I'm not sure, I can't remember what it is, but there's a specific sample. Is that humming track where it goes, well, if you were to take that, this specific jungle track, breakdown part, it would be lower than that, but it would have more of a futuristic sound to it, but it wouldn't be futuristic as in futuristic, it would be older sounding as well, but at the same time make a futuristic sound. And it would and it's very low, but it's done in like a very cultic sounding way. If you were to play it and you'd pick up on it straight away. So someone who's never heard the track before, you play it, they would click into their head straight away that that's not a safe track to listen to, or they'll feel on edge. It makes a suggestion of Victorian or the really old-fashioned musical instruments bending into creepier shapes than what they already look, when they sort of give that creepy look, but in a dark place, but done in a way of using symbols and specific sounds to create the music so that the music sounds like that. It's also one of those tracks where you can picture an image in the music. It's sort of, I don't know if telepathy is the right word to use it, but if you were to play that track, it would create an image in your head, and it would suggest to you what it suggests in the track, and that would be like, it would just sound like everything's warped, everything's bending. You're like clock chimes that are breaking. How else? You'd have like sort of other symbols, but it's like it sounds like, in actual fact, it sounds like things breaking down, but the way they make the samples sound, so it does sound like that. And it also gives a suggestion of upside down green strip light glow lights, really old looking type, in like a dungeon or a cellar or something like that. but it's very warped to track. It's sort of it's like clock pendulums that are dropping out, you know, or bending, and it's sort of like creepy instruments that, you know, instruments you never heard of before that's done in an electronic pattern, and they've made the whole track sound like it came out in the Middle Ages. You know, it's not modern samples, but and the way they make it sound really low is it's very interesting. And then obviously they mix the old school jungle breaks into that, and then obviously it builds up into a slightly happier sound as it goes back out of the breakdown part. And the breakdown part, I guess, is around about 1.5 minutes long, maybe 2 minutes. It's one of those really technological made tracks. And if I was to guess the year it was made, it sounds like 1993. So actually in Pesce World of Music you've got the sound of, say, clock pendulums dropping, but it's not the same. It seems to have a more sort of it seems to have more of a creepy sound to it. And its backing cymbals are quite interesting as well, where Pesce World of Music's a sort of a lighter type of track. So yeah, so when I'm talking about the illegal jungle, that would be the types of tracks they were making, and obviously they wouldn't be able to sell this to the younger generation either. I mean, it'd be very unlikely that people under the age of 40 would be supplied this material even back in those days, if it even got on the shelves, because it would have been too dangerous for DJs to play. But I'm not exactly sure what is known as that specific type of jungle music, but it's very unusual, it's very rare. You had these dance trance mixtapes in the 1990s, and they were jungle mixes. I can tell you now, you may think some of the tracks are interesting on those tapes. When it comes to this track that I'm mentioning, you're looking about 5+ times more scarier, more deeper, more cultic sounding than anything that's on those dance trance tapes, and that's what I'd probably classify as an illegal jungle track. And obviously I've not heard it for many years, so but when it comes to music, like I said, this documentary is mostly to describe music, but I really wanted to mention what I just mentioned. So it does make the sound like the power, it's like, does the system have the power to play this track, or is it going to break the system, or could you record it to a CD, or like, gives the sound like, will it actually break the system, is there something possessed in that track, or, you know, it's quite a creepy track, to be fair. I mean, I should have had that at the age, you know, this sort of music when I was that age, but I can't remember what tape that was on, but it's definitely the hardest track I've ever heard. It's harder than all these, you know, underground jungle mixes or whatever, because a lot of these underground jungle mixes like Dance Trance, Fantasia, Dreamscape or whatever, is all kind of, well, I wouldn't say commercial, but it's legal music. It's officially pressed stuff from the sub-record companies, or low, how do I put it, record companies that are not very big, but where they get their music officially licensed and can be sold legally, like on 12-inch records or whatever. But this specific track, yeah, was very interesting. But anyway, let's get back to what I was saying, like just now, shall we? So obviously if I was to lose all my jungle music, like I said, my alternative music would be this dark ambient music of Cryo Chamber. But in recent times I've had issues with discs breaking from, well, basically whatever's causing the burning in my place. I mean, we had this at my old place. I was getting gritty eyes and stinging eyes and burning eyes, but the rest of my body was pretty much okay. Whatever was doing that was wiping off hard drives and breaking USB sticks and damaging some discs. I mean, there's a few discs that survived, or certain tracks on certain discs. I've had to play the discs to make sure the tracks are okay, which I did when I moved to Yeovil. So there was a few tracks, but whatever's causing the burning problem that started in February this year, before I had to stay at my dad's because I was getting really ill from it, like I said, whatever was causing that has done the same to my USB sticks and hard drives at that place, and it's caused me to lose all the Cryo Chamber stuff as well, the dark ambient stuff. But let's just supposing I lost everything and I didn't have any music at all, what music would I go into? Or would I change my music, or would I get the music back, or what? Well, the problem is the rarity of my type of music. My type of music is very deep and quite dark, and you wouldn't be able to get my sort of music back. So the likelihood is, if I lost everything, I wouldn't want to be reminded of the memories of that as well. I mean, I have lost quite a lot. I mean, I've had more break-ins than most other people when it comes to losing my stuff. It might not just be in like in your home or whatever, but where it's been stored, like in a garage or whatever, and the boxes are left in the garage, and you know, boxes are left before I move from one place to another, before I move to Burnham and then Burnham to Yeovil or whatever. You've got to think of all that as well. So I've had a very unlucky time. And then you've got to think of all the money that's gone missing from my flat when you know, anyone from supported housing or anyone can go into my flat because they're allowed to, because it's just the sort of, you know. And I've also had, there's many different things I could go on. I mean, there's also been accidental things where Helen's accidentally turned the heating on, trying to turn it off, which is one of the staff workers. She didn't do it on purpose, and I know she didn't, but she didn't realise my records were laying against the radiator, and when I came back they all had to be chucked out, and they were like all rare old school jungle tracks. So there's things like that, you know. I've lost lots of things through time, but just supposing I lost every single music track, then obviously my alternative genre I'd go into would be dark classical. But I've just found out in recent times that even when it comes to the genre of dark classical, because there's got these types of tracks on it that are not too happy, they're upping the price on it. So basically you're literally musicless. You'd probably have to go into new age stuff, but you wouldn't even get new age stuff because they'd stop doing that as well. You can't even get Llewellyn properly on the internet anymore unless he reissues it. But the problem is record labels are tightening up big time. So when it comes to music that's you know, like, there's got to be, basically, if you go into HMV you're not going to find any new age at all. You might find Sacred Spirit, and that is it. That is your lot for new age music. Dark ambient, you won't find anything at all under dark ambient. You may get something like Jean Siblis, Symphony Part whatever, on one of his albums, which has a dark ambient type of classical track. But take that away, you ain't going to find any music like that at all. And if you go into HMV or Our Price or any music shop like Virgin Records or whatever, you'll find that the classical section's disappearing, and also they're changing the style of classical music into children's types of music as well, to try and force people out of the genre of classical, out of the normal tracks, because the normal types of tracks are very deep and dark and moody. Obviously they're trying to cheer it up with some more jolly type of tracks, with like kids themes that they put in cartoons, which are classical, modern classical. And obviously most old people don't like that sort of music, and because they're doing that, they're fading out the proper classical stuff, meaning that no one's going to be able to get that sort of music. When it comes to old school jungle and techno and subgenres or whatever, you will find that you're not going to get that either, because the government want the music industry controlled in the way they want it controlled, and they want their music to be lyrical based, not sound based. That's what they're doing. They're trying to do away with the sound based music tracks. And I can give you the types of music that they're trying to force people out of, and the type of music they're trying to force people into. So basically the type of music they're trying to force people into is hip hop, rap, club music, drum and bass or dubstep or whatever you call it, heavy metal, rock. And when I say drum and bass, I don't mean jungle. Drum and bass is a lot heavier than jungle, because drum and bass and jungle used to be, there's a speculation they're trying to put the two together as the same genre. Well, the difference with jungle is a lot more soulful and it's much more deeper, where drum and bass has got more of a kick to it and more of a punch to it, and is not a very soulful category. It's more lively, it's more for rave, where jungle's sort of more meditation type sounding and is more of a dub genre like reggae rather than drum and bass. I could go into a long story about that, but I'll do that another time. I'm just going to quickly tell you what music the government are trying to force everybody into. So as I said, they're trying to force everybody into heavy metal, rock, country and western, modern drum and bass, hip hop, rap. I think I've already mentioned that how many times. While trying to think of what others they're trying to force people into. Pop tunes, chart music, dance music and club music. It's basically that. That's basically it. When it comes to old pop tracks, you will find that when they do these 6 CD packs or 4 CD packs of old 80s tracks or 70s tracks, they're taking away the deep tracks like Golden Brown by the Stranglers, or The Specials, Ghost Town, or Ultravox Vienna, or The Hollies, The Air That I Breathe, or Otis Redding, Dock of the Bay, or you name it, there's loads of tracks I can mention. Guys and Dolls, there's a whole lot of loving. You name it, Thompson Twins, Love on Your Side. There's many tracks. Peaches and Herbs, You Reunited. Brian and Michael, Matchstalk Men and Matchstalk Cats and Dogs. I mean, there's many tracks that have been released that are very deep and soulful. Casey and the Sunshine Band. What's it they do? I'm trying to think what the track is called. Please Don't Go. There's many tracks. Andy Williams, Can't Get Used to Losing You. Jean-Michel Jarre, Oxygen Part 4. What else is there? Mars, Pump Up the Volume. Belinda Carlisle, Circle in the Sand. These sorts of tracks are disappearing because they're sound based. What they're trying to do is they're trying to force people into a moderner sounding selection of music. So the government are doing away with the types of tracks that I just mentioned, and they're trying to change everybody's way of listening. I mean, let's look at Abbott Gold and Carpenter's Gold, for example, and even Queen Greatest Hits 1. They're all sort of sound based music that's deep. These types, they're gonna. That's one of the mistakes that they made, because these albums that I just mentioned are very commercial. But I know for a fact that in the next 15 years, those albums would end up going, because the government are trying to modernise music and trying to change the mindset of what people listen to. They want to force people to listen to hip hop, rap, heavy metal, rock, modern drum and bass, club tunes, pop music and chart music, and possibly kids music for the younger generation. Nothing else. The music the government hates is new age meditation, mystical music, religious music, apart from Christianity, because Christianity fits in nicely with what the government like people to listen to. Taking Christianity out of the way, if it's something like Hindu music or Buddha music, then obviously the government don't like that. The government have got it in for old school jungle, the same for old school techno, and in actual fact, when it comes to soul step, the dubstep, the underground dubstep, the government don't like that either. They don't like dark classical, they don't like ordinary classical, and that's why they're trying to force it into children's music to stop, so that they can force adults that are into that. And also, they do when they do these classical tracks, they're messing up. So if you've got a really deep classical track or a dark classical track, they'll make another version of it and sell it as being on an album of a great producer or whatever. And it turns out that the version of it is a load of rubbish, which they do on purpose to try and force people out of that sort of music, because it's the way. You look at Kate Bush's album, I'm not sure what it's titled, but Wuthering Heights is a different version to the actual original version, which has also been released on many other 70s albums, like Back to the 70s, that was released in 1994 area. Or Nights in White Satin by the Moody Blues. These types of tracks are gone. The government don't like these sorts of sounds in the music for some reason, and they want everybody to listen to happy, jolly, sexual, good life music, basically. Not everybody takes to that, but that's the way we're heading into the future. And obviously, if you look at the technology and the sort of sounds that is in modern music, you see what I mean. But let's put it this way, in 15 years from now, unless it's on a Now That's What I Call Music album, your music's fucking gone, believe me. And that means the deep tracks that used to be commercial as well. I mean, they struggled to reissue Now That's What I Call Music 10 because Erasure, the Circus, possibly Mars Pump Up the Volume, House Martins, Build, T-Paw, China in Your Hand. When it came to Now That's What I Call Music 1, they did that pretty well, so that wasn't too much of an issue. When they reissued Now That's What I Call Music Volume 3, they took off Bob Marley, One Love, because obviously, like I said, they're trying to get rid of these sorts of tracks which are deep. So I don't know the full reason, but they will be going, all this music's going. So like I said, I mean, you've got Sound of Nature, you can't even get Sound of Nature discs. You won't get that in the shop either. They don't want you to have that music either. So you know, the Jungle Manias and the Dance Manias are 95 and 94, mostly 1995. You had stuff like Cotton Eye Joe, Clubhouse featuring Carl, Light My Fire. On the Jungle Manias, there's stuff like Dead Bass, Renegade the Terrorist, Deep Blue Helicopter, Omni Trio, Renegade Snares, Foul Play Remix. You even have Fallen Angels, Hello Lover, DJ Hype Remix. And that's pretty much a specialised track that's on the album. And that actually got in the album charts in 1994. So, you know, let's look at K9 Energy Rush. I think it's K9 Energy Rush. You had jungle tracks on there. You had house tracks on Now That's What I Call Music 30. Now 31 you had Sail Kiss from a Rose, you had Portishead, Sour Times. All this music's gone. The government don't like it, you see. They're struggling because when they reissued the Now series, they didn't realise that these older Nows have those types of tracks on them. So if you look on the CD cover or the tape cover or whatever, you will find that they've had to remaster it or relocate the old file of that specific track to put it on that album, because they tried doing away with it and they didn't realise that later on they were going to reissue the Now That's What I Call Music series. So, you know, you know, they will do away with all this music. It's just a matter of time, and it doesn't take long either. I mean, they're trying to fade CDs out as it is. They're trying to bring back the analogue format of records, but they're messing up because they're bringing out ABBA, Queen and Carpenters, which are all sound-based tracks that are very deep, or kind of deep to some extent, or soulful, should I say. And yet, you know, and there's sort of, you know, but yeah, I can't quite make that part out, how they're allowing that to be reissued, but I don't know how the music system works, to be fair. I mean, when it comes to John Carpenter's Halloween original soundtrack, they had to reissue the 25th anniversary because they did in America, and it wouldn't go down right if they'd couldn't in the UK, so maybe that's the reason. There's one genre they have brought back. It is a load of, well, because it's happy hardcore is a very happy genre, and it's sort of very jolly and very chart sounding, or not a music genre that where the government feel that they need to do away with it. They do now and again bring the hardcore Heaven discs out, or they reissue happy hardcore here and there. I have noticed that. Jungle, I've noticed that since 2002, when they did the Jungle Massive mixed by DJ Hype, they were choosing a selection of tracks, and on every single Ministry of Sound Jungle compilation mix that they've done since that time, it's just been a rearrangement of exactly the same tracks on every album. So you had Old School Jungle mixed by Shy FX, which is basically identical tracks to what's on near enough identical tracks to what's on Jungle Massive mixed by DJ Hype, and also it's the same track listing that's almost identical for Jungle what's it called? Jungle is massive. So it's Jungle is massive. And again, that's the same tracks. And quite literally, that's the only 3 Jungle CDs that are on the commercial front that have been released since 2002. And then before 2002, it wasn't until the mid-90s that they released a Jungle CD. You've had a couple of... I mean, Cartel Records is a very commercial record company. I'm surprised they managed to get Intense's Genesis project on their... on a jazz tip, drum and bass sessions, double CD pack. That has shocked me. That has really, really shocked me. Because now they've done that, that means they're not going to be able to destroy that track, because that means doing that means Intense, the Genesis project, is a commercial track. It might not be the same version, as it's got a few alterations and it's got more spacious sound to it than the version that's on the record. However, I do actually prefer the version that's on the CD than what's on the record when it comes to that specific track. However, when it comes to Time Space Continuum, or the Dreamer, or the dope remix of the Quickening, then obviously I prefer the version that's on the record. And also I like Intense's Paradox, the original version of the Quickening, and Journey to the Unknown's not a bad track either, though Paradox is my top favourite, and that's on the Rugged Vinyl 7, and then obviously the Genesis project is Rugged 9, which is basically Good Looking Records. It's their promos, their sub-label. So it's quite commercial music, you know. It's not music that's illegal or anything like that, but it is quite rare. And most of the stuff that was being played back in the 1990s, you've got to take into account that a lot of the tracks that they were doing, they weren't really trying to mix specialised tracks or commercial deep tracks as such. They were just aiming it on the rave scene, trying to choose the raviest tracks to get the crowd going and whatever. So when you listen to this music on these rave tapes, it's not going to be that often you're going to find these sorts of tracks that are more sort of deep or commercial, more quality made, because obviously the DJs are more into like what the kids wanted at that time. You know, they wanted the ravey stuff, the best it gets, and the really fast jungle stuff. But when you had stuff like Dreamscape or Dance Trance, then obviously they made exceptions, and they did use a lot of the more sort of deeper technological tracks that were made, and they do seem to be quite commercial, more commercial than I thought. They do make an underground sound, but they are actually commercial tracks. But today, whatever music you listen to, whether it's techno, jungle, even the tracks I mentioned, like the 80s and the 70s tracks, you're not going to see all them again. You might get one track on an album. A 6 CD set, you might get 1 or 2 tracks, and that's it. Of the type of tracks I just mentioned earlier, like Goombay Dance Band, 7 Tears, or Godly and Cream Under Your Thumb, or you know, or Peaches and Herb Reunited. You know, if it's a track like that, you're looking at just 1 or 2 tracks like that on an album. The rest all rock or heavy metal, because they're trying to change everybody's mindset and choose what people listen to, which is a shame, because they'd never be able to reissue those chart actions that they released in the early 80s, which were 4 LP sets. I can tell you that they'd never get away with it, because you'd have stuff like Blondie, Tide Is High, I can't remember if that was on there actually. You had Blondie, Heart of Glass, Baccarat, what's the other one, Donna Summer, I Feel Love, some of the ones I've already mentioned, Ian Jury and the Blockheads was on there. I mean, even stuff like, you know, The Foreigner, I Want to Know What Love Is, or The Style Counts, or what did they do? You're the Best Thing, or Nelson, Move Closer, or whatever the track's called. And then obviously you've got other tracks like Toto, Africa. I mean, these sorts of tracks are gone, but you know, they've played a part in history, and they've been really good tracks for people that like that sort of music. I mean, who else do you have that's good? There's a lot of stuff in the mid-80s. There's one really good track I like. It's a reggae track. Judy Boucher, Can't Be With You Tonight. That's a classic, you know. I didn't even know it's reggae. I thought it was just some form of like a love song, but you know. And then you also have reggae. Yeah, the older reggae, you don't hear that anymore. So you had stuff like Jar Creechy or Screechy, and it's called Walk on Skank, or what's the other one? Cockney Translation. I can't remember who does it. Hello Tush Tush Toshiba, or whatever the track says. And then you had Shinehead, Michael Jackson's reggae version of Billie Jean, and then you had Aswad, I need your love more than just an hour, I need your love more than just a day, or something like that. I can't remember what the fucking lyrics are, but you know, it's you sort of had the music. You have Freightliner Fever Volume 2, even when it came to like trucking music. You had stuff like Jim something or rather, I can't remember what his name, but Jim Bowen maybe, or whatever, and tracks called I'm a Born Believer. You had oh, what else? My Little Corner of the World. You know, I mean, the depth of tracks even on the tapes back then, you know, it's different. The music was different back then. When they were putting stuff on cassette tape, it was track after track was like this, literally every track on the tape. When CDs came in, they started to put less of those tracks on them. Most CDs that were bought out, there's just 1 or 2 tracks that are good on the CD, and the rest a load of crap. Nowadays, it's like 1 or 2 tracks on a 6 CD pack, and that is it. And they're probably even less basic than the ones I just mentioned. So you know, it's certainly doing away with this sort of music. I mean, there's another tape. It's like a country and western tape, but there's like a certain type of country and western. It's deep. So you had stuff like I Love You Because, Jim Reeves, I think it is, or there could have been another version. Frankie Lane, Cool Water. Oh God, what else was on Dad's tape? I'm trying to think. Was it Ringo Starr? Something Ringo. I can't remember if Big Bad John was on there. Another country and western track. It's not really my sort of music, but there are certain tapes. Blue Bayo, that was another good track. I can't remember who does it. I mean, you look at all the tracks of the past, all the good music. None of it's hardly got on CD. Apart from Now That's What I Call Music #1, the very first ever one that they released. Quite literally every track on there's a really good track. When you came to Now 2, it's all heavy metal and rock crap. I can give you what I'd say the reasonable Now That's What I Call Music is out of the British UK Now series. Probably Now 1, Now 10. Sort of, you had a few tracks on like Circle in the Sand, Belinda Carlisle on Now 12. I think there wasn't really much on Now 11. So yeah, so it's Now 1, Now 10, Now 28, Now 29, Now 30 and Now 31, and then obviously it was a load of shit until you reached about Now 65. So but there was a couple when is it, in the sort of Now 50 area where you had PPK Resurrection and some sort of, and you had some of the club tracks from the late 90s on some of the later 30 nows. But really, to be honest, a lot of this music, you know, it's good, but the thing is, when it comes to the underground stuff, or the people that want the darker stuff, or the more relaxed sort of moody stuff, I mean, this music's all gone. I mean, there's a record company called Night Force Records, and they're trying to rescue all the old school jungle tracks, the commercial stuff, but they can't take it from the original DAT recordings or the original recording source, because when these companies went under in the 1990s, when the government enforced music restrictions to make the laws tougher, they went bust. You know, firstly it went into merchandise shops selling flyers and tickets and whatever, because they couldn't sell their music, you see, and then eventually they didn't make any money on that, so they went under. And everything that they reissue, they're restricted on what they can reissue, because the government have made changes with the music industry. But since the Conservatives have been in power, they've had the ability for Night Force Records to actually be allowed to. I mean, look at a track that's called "From the Man Like Pennywise." You have a track called "Suspension of Disbelief," and you also have a track called "Mystery." Both of those tracks are good. They go like an 80s sound mixed with jungle music, basically. So how they got away reissuing that one, I do not know, because that's quite an unusual one to actually get, because they got to get permission, and that's only been reissued this year, by the way. So how they got permission to do that, I do not know. So it's difficult. It's hard to know what they're doing with the music industry, but either way, a majority, 99% of the music, is gone for good, So, and obviously when they do the reissues, like I said, they have to take it from the record, not the original recording source. They reissued Nutty 1 off the Nut EP, going back some years, about 5+, just over 5 years ago, something like that. And that's got Liquid Affray and Underwater Fireworks on it. But the problem is, again, they took it from a record. They didn't take it from a very clean record, because it was a dusty record. And you could hear it on Underwater Fireworks, because Underwater Fireworks is a longer track, that come the end of the record it's all muffled. So when they reissued it, it made a boo-boo really. So people that bought the record have probably had to bin it. I mean, it's the same with Liquid Affray. You can tell at the end of the Liquid Affray it's much the same, but at least it's playable and it sounds good when it comes to Liquid Affray. I like both tracks, they're both 10 out of 10 tunes, but I prefer Underwater Fireworks to Liquid Affray, only a little bit. Talking of that specific EP, off the Nut EP by Nutty 1, it was originally released in 1993 on Bare Necessities Records, which I think is just another label record company. So that's a record company, it's called Just Another Label. I think it's a sub-label there, whatever you call it, the label of Bare Necessities, basically. The samples used in that where is it? In Liquid Affray, they take a sample from Ultravox's Dreams track, which was released in 1986, and that's that dark chord, or that dark chorus in the middle part of the track. I'm not quite sure what sample they used for the start of the track. On Underwater Fireworks, they used, on the bit where it says "We thought we died and gone to heaven," they used the sample from Jean-Michel Jarre, Ethnicolor 1, I think, which is like got that horse sound in it. Not the breakdown part, sorry. Start of the track, sorry. I'm not quite sure where that Hawaiian sample comes from in the middle part. I'm not sure. I was getting a bit confused then. I was thinking of the middle part. But there's other samples that have been used in other tracks. There's one other interesting track. It sounds more underground than what it really is. It was played at Dreamscape 8, New Year's Eve 1993, and it's called The Alliance First Impressions. Many people mistake that as Dark and Moody Volume 4, which is produced by DJ SS and is a Formation promo, basically, a sub-label promos that he released. Well, if we go to The Alliance First Impressions, it was originally released on a 10-inch acetate press, and that's where Groove Rider got the first copy from, which is Legend Records, which is produced by Gwanj, Spinback and Q Project, basically. So Jason Greenhaig, Paul Smith and Simon Matthews. So they formed as a group called The Alliance, as well as Q Project and Gwanj, or you name it, you name it. And you also got Lee Ching as well, who's DJ Lee. So The Alliance First Impressions has actually got samples from Kate Bush, but it's not her proper albums as such. It's like her 1 minute track albums. I don't know what you name it as she did a specific album, like soundtrack album or something like that, and the sample for the Alliance First Impressions, there's a sample from that that's been used in the Alliance First Impressions, which I think is slowed down rather than sped up, which gives that bit where it goes there's a possibility, I'm not 100% sure, that the bat sound that's used, because it's like got a bat sound and it goes in the Alliance First Impressions, which could also come from that Kate Bush album. There's also a couple of other samples, but I can't remember the where they came from. I did find that out on the internet. But 2 minutes and 46 seconds through the Alliance First Impressions, after you've got that dark, dreamy, eerie, cellar sounding start of the track, you've got a second part, and it's got the same sound as Way Out West, The Gift, the same piano sample. They played a piano sample that's in the Alliance First Impressions in Way Out West, The Gift, on the second part of that track at 2 minutes 46 seconds through. So the Alliance First Impressions, although it's one of those really sort of rarer type sounding tracks, it is actually quite a big track. It's bigger than what it sounds. I mean, it's not a huge track, obviously, because none of the underground tracks are huge anymore, but it's not as rare as what it is. It's a bit like Intense Paradox and the Genesis project by Intense, which is produced by Simon Bisbee, Bill Thomas and Dan Duncan, who form the three people that were in Intense when they made these records in 1993 and 1994. I think actually that might have been 1993 as well when it came to the Genesis project, but that's not certain. And Time Space Continuum, because it's on DJ Hype Vibalite, because that's where I first heard Time Space Continuum. And Pesce World of Music, DJ Pesce, I've always thought that came out in 1994. It was actually released, it was actually made in 1993. So a lot of these tracks that you think came out in 94 were actually 1993 tracks. So anyway, I'll leave it there on that subject. I forgot to mention that the Alliance First Impressions, after it was released on a 10-inch acetate by Legend Records, it was reissued on Enforcer's 6 EP, which is on Reinforced Records, which they released in 1994, so it would have been the Alliance First Impressions on Reinforced Records rather than Legend Records. But when it was made, it was on Legend Records. It's the same version, obviously, but obviously they sold it over to Reinforced Records, possibly so they didn't lose a track. I don't know, because Legend Records went under. It's hard to know. I think they went under after Legend Records died out, I think they went under Computer Integrated Audio, which is a CIA label, and I think they're known as Total Science today and produce a modern drum and bass. I'm not sure. There's also some really good tracks by another producer, which is called FBD Project, also known as Neil Trex. Journeys was a really good track. Now, he used some samples from Michael Jackson, and there's a possibility he used other samples as well to make that track. Another good track that he did was Midnight Hypnosis, Hi-Fi Touch, and obviously he did The Core, which is that sort of spacey, space age type of sounding track, and also did that track where it goes, she's breaking up, she's breaking up, she's breaking up, she's breaking up, she's breaking, which is actually called Breaking Up, which is by the FBD Project, and I think these have actually been reissued as well, I'm not sure. And obviously there's a lot of stuff that's been reissued on the DJ label, Lucky Spin Record, because DJ Crystal, Crystallize, and DJ Crystal, Warp Drive and Meditation, and is it In the Year 4000 or something like that? I'm not sure what the track is. He's done quite a few tracks as well, which are really good. And then obviously there's some sub tracks like Code Blue, Angels in Rhythm, and then obviously you've got other tracks like Orca, Intellect, Coda, Space Tech. Coda and Orca are the same producers, so if you listen to Coda Space Tech, it's the same as Orca's Intellect. I'm not sure if they've actually reissued the original version of Space Tech, but they have with Orca's Intellect. Incidentally, Intense, that did Paradox, Time Space Continuum, the Genesis Project, The Dreamer, Journey to the Unknown, and other tracks as well. Well, did you know some of the tracks that he's actually produced has actually been put on a film called The Cradle of Fear? So that means, although they sound like underground tracks, that means that Journey to the Unknown and Time Space Continuum, although they're breakdown tracks and were played on many underground rave tapes of the 1990s, because they've actually used those tracks in a film called The Cradle of Death, or The Cradle of Fear, whatever it's called, that makes those tracks commercial. Also, Intense was known as Babylon Time Warp before it went into Jungle. So they were doing ravey stuff up until Durban Poison, which would be the last rave track by Babylon Time Warp, who is like by the same producers, you know, Intense, which is Simon Visby, Bill Thomas and Dan Duncan. But there's a change, because rave, you didn't have that technological sound or that aim and break or that deep sound or that dark sort of dreamy effect in the music. It was just like spinny sounds, tweeting girl voices that are sped up, and fast ravey drum beats. And that's why I don't like tracks like Babylon Time Warp's Durban Poison. But when they started going into doing the deeper stuff, I think they started off with stuff like, I'm not sure their first one, but Intense Paradox was one of the early ones. And also Legend Records was came into existence as well, starting off with Q Project Champion sound. Then you had other early tracks like The Execution, Solutions and Too Deep, and Adrenaline, and New Creation as well, and Vinyl Paradise. Actually, the Alliance remix of New Creation did actually get reissued in the end, but the quality wasn't that great on the record, and that was by Sublogical Recordings in 2008-2009 area. Basement Records was another label where they had some really good jungle tracks. So you have Rough with the Smooth, Art of Intelligence, Rough with the Smooth, Twisted Girl. That's Rough spelled R-U-F-F, not R-O-U-G-H. Also you had the sub-labels like Smooth Recordings and Entity. So you had Hedgehog Affair, Monomania, Fast Floor, Seventh Heaven, and Minesweeper. It's a bit confusing on which is the proper track to the track I like on that specific record, because apparently the track got released on the wrong side of the record, so it's likely to be Seventh Heaven and not Minesweeper. But that's unknown. Another really good track is Trippin' on Sunshine, which is also known as Fast Floor to Change on Jungle Techno 5, but it's actually Trippin' on Sunshine because there's a few errors on that CD. But on the other side you've got Fast Floor Timeless, which is also a real good track, and there's also like a female vocal sample that's also similar to what's in Omni Trio Renegade Snares Foul Play remix. And obviously Good Looking Records, there's some good stuff on there as well. Let's look at the Points in Time series. You had Dope Travelling Part 2, LTJ Bookham and Pesce 19.5, PFM The Western Tune, Source Direct, Secret Liaison, Artemis, Elysium Fields, you have Poseidon, Tensions of the Sea, The Invisible Man, the Tone Tune and the Bell Tune, PFM Wash Over Me. What else is on those points in time? Intense, Careless Minds, Intense, Positive Notions, but you also have Intense Motions, the VIP mix in particular, because the original's a load of, well, I don't like the original, I prefer the VIP mix, which is on Article Volume 3, I think. Anyway, also on the Points in Time series, you have Universal Live Session. You also have 19.5 Reprisal, or Reprise, by LTJ Bookham and Apache. And also you have Bookham and Taylor, Bang the Drums. On Points in Time Volume 4, you have LTJ Bookham Rainfall. LTJ did music as well, and Music Happy Raw, and also did Horizons. But going back to Points in Time Volume 4, you had Parallel World Contagious, Parallel World Tear Into It. So you had some good tracks on that label. LTJ Bookham Atlantis, I Need You was another one. And I'm going to choose some random good tracks that I know in the jungle scene in general. So you had International Rude Boys featuring Matrix, Area 39 on Formation Records. DJ Ratty, Source of All Evil. Well, actually, most tracks on the Taste of Things to Come EP were pretty good anyway. Obviously, we have Mental Power, Unknown Intelligence, Cool and Sexy, and The Dream Sequence. Pesce Warning, Baby Kane, Unfolding Perspective, and Let Me Go. Baby Kane, Strange Greetings. And again, Strange Greetings is one of the early jungle tracks after the rave scene went, like with Babylon, Time Warp, Durban, Poison. And obviously I'm not keen on the rave stuff. The stuff I'm into is when the jungle came in. They didn't all come in at the same time, so it's different time periods, give or take a few months, maybe a year on some, when it comes to some producers. One of the earliest jungle tracks is Chaos and Julia set Fear the Future, the original the original Chaos mix on Recoil Records. You've got Appaloosa Unplugged, Chaos and Julia set remix, Bliss and Tumble Free Me. When it comes to Jungle Techno 5, let's just talk about the track listing on there, because there's several mistakes. They're only mild mistakes. So there's a track called Photech Resolution. It is actually Photech that does that track. It is Photech Resolution, but it's actually known as Studio Pressure, because Photech's done a track called Photech Resolution, which is a jump up drum and bass track, or modern drum and bass track in recent times. So when you refer to it as Photech, you'll probably be looking at the modern drum and bass track of that track, where with Studio Pressure you're going with the original track. But some people are getting it mixed up with First Sequence, because there might have been an issue where they put the track on the wrong side of the record, I'm not sure. Brothers with Soul, Music Is So Special. Then obviously track 3 on JT5 is the Twisted Girl track by Rough With a Smooth. Then Jeephead, Close Encounter. Then you've got Van Cleef, Life Began Changing. That's a top buzz tune, which is produced by Jason Kay, who's actually not around anymore, by the way, and nor is DJ Randall. DJ Randall died this year, because it's in the Daily Mail online where I heard about it, and it discusses the sort of tracks that he's doing, like the jungle tracks of the 90s, doing different music, you know, going back before the jungle scene and progressing on to drum and bass later on and whatever. So DJ Randall is roughly about 10 years older than me, so there's not really much difference in age, really, to be fair. Track 5 on JT5 listed as Peace in Our Time, so they must have taken it from a record, or they made a mistake and put the wrong track on there. So it's Life Began Changing, not Peace in Our Time. I think it's no, I'm not sure, I get confused on this part. I think it might be Ray Keith dubplate Terrorist Mix Part 1 or the final plate. Then you've got DJ Chrome and Mr. Time, The License, which is the only track I'm not keen on, which is on JT5. We skipped tracks I can't remember because I've got them on the top of my head at the moment. We have Steve C and Monitor, The Razor's Edge, which is a good track. It comes from a record with Full Cry on the other side, and that's not a bad track either, but I prefer The Razor's Edge, and I prefer the full-length version, not the 4-minute version, or just over 4 minutes as on Jungle Techno 5 CD. On the record and on the tape, they did actually put the full version on there, but on the CD they only put about 4 to 5 minutes of it on there. I think it's 4.5 minutes, I'm not sure. And then same with Rough with a Smooth Twisted Girl, that's 8 minutes and 11 seconds long, 8 minutes and 11 seconds long. On Jungle Techno 5 it's basically 4 minutes 59, just edging into 5 minutes. So they end it on that, so you've got that sort of gravestone sound where it goes duh, 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 and then it ends on that. I call it a gravestone type of sound because it makes a suggestion of a gravestone at the end of the track, and you've got 2 gravestone sounds at the start of that track as well. Doesn't make sense why it's called Rough with the Smooth Twisted Girl, and it has the suggestion of gravestones in it, but that's what the track suggests. Obviously you've got whatever tracks are on there. Basement Phil Flying Remix. Presumably that is the correct title. I don't know. Basement Phil's basically a producer from Basement Records. So whatever the track is, whether it's called Flying or not, it will be by the same person. Essence of Aura, Can I Dream, uncut dub. That's actually listed as Original Substitute, which is the alternative to Essence of Aura, so in some ways that's the correct title, but just another name for it. It means the same as Essence of Aura, Original Substitute. Then obviously when we go to Fast Floor The Change, that's actually Fast Floor Tripping on Sunshine. There's a lot of errors on the drum and bass floor burners sets they did as well, which are 4 CD sets that were selling for a tenner in places like Virgin and HMV and our price back in the time it was released. There's a track on Drum and Bass Floor Burners Volume 2 called DJ Placido, Just Juice, and there's also a track called Mindless, where the track that goes, "This is a dream, this isn't happening," they titled that as Just Juice. It's not, that's actually Mindless. And the other track where they titled it Mindless sounds like a water jug in the track, and that's actually Just Juice. They did this on the where is it? Drum and Bass Floor Burners Volume 1. People are getting confused because if we go to Nutty 1 off the Nut EP, you've got the track Underwater Fireworks and Liquid Affray. Well, I think they put the wrong track on the wrong side of the record when they issued that Nut E1 off the Nut EP. So I'm going to help you with this, and I did mention it earlier. There's a sample from Ultravox's Dreams in the middle part of Liquid Affray. And then obviously the hoarse sounding track is Underwater Fireworks, which is the longer track. So the track that says "We Thought We Died and Gone to Heaven" halfway through is Underwater Fireworks. And obviously right through the track it's got a sample from Jean-Michel Jarre, Ethnic Colour 1. And like I said earlier on, I'm not quite sure where the Hawaiian sample comes in, where that's taken from for the breakdown part of that track. But definitely a good track. It was released, the actual Underwater Fireworks track was released on Hard Leaders 5 Hard Leaders 5 Jungle Dub CD, and it's on Drum and Bass Floor Burners 1, but they listed it as Liquid Affray. However, it's on Drum and Bass Floor Burners 2 as well, where it is listed as the proper title, Underwater Fireworks. But there's a slight glitch in the section where it says We Thought We Died and Gone to Heaven, where they've upped the volume slightly where they shouldn't have done that. They just should have kept it as it initially was. But you can get a copy of it, and also they've taken it off of vinyl. They've taken it off the vinyl when they issued it on the Drum and Bass Floor Burners Volume 1. On Hard Leaders Volume 5, you have to track. I think it's 5 minutes 10 seconds long. I'm not sure. So it's shortcut, but you get the track taken from the original recording source, and it plays normal for that 5 minutes. And Flat 47 No Man's Land on Hard Leaders 4. No, that's Hard Leaders 5 as well. Sorry. That's 5 minutes and 10 seconds as well. And that's not the full length of the track, because the original when they that comes from a 10-inch record, which is goes in for another few minutes after, before it ends. When it comes to Green Buddha, the Chamber on Hard Leaders 4, that's only a 5-minute track. That is actually the proper length for that specific track. And it was never released on record, so when DJs wanted to play that track years ago at raves, they couldn't, because it was only released on the CD. However, Seventh Story Projects have reissued it on record in recent times on 7 Chambers record, or something like that. One interesting track, is not a track they usually make in this style anymore, which came out in 2013 area, is Well Beloved, a track called Immortal, and they list it as the VIP mix. And that's a nice proper cultic sounding type of track. It's like a Ouija board sounding type track. You don't usually get those sorts of tracks being made anymore, but that one that came out in 2013 was quite a good track. Take away that bit in the middle where it goes where that bit is, that annoyed me a little bit, but taking that electrical zapping section out, then that track is a really good track. I did have favourite jungle tapes back in this day, so I'd like Dance Trance Randall Mission Control, 2nd of the 4th 1994, but I didn't know what mix it was for many years. This came in a single tape cover, so you had a purple back on the cover that said Mastered from Dat Originals, and you had 2 squares with 2 red triangles in the middle of it saying Dance Trance the Future, with a purple backing cover. On the side of the tape you had the DJ name in white writing and a purple cover, and on the front cover says Dance Trance and then Randall. So you had Dance Trance on the top of the tape cover, and underneath at the bottom you said Randall, and you had a picture of a line drawing of a orangey colour type, yellow, red, sort of whatever colour face, which is actually taken from a book named the Encyclopedia or of the medical book or dictionary. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Fortress Books, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's also been used on a book cover known as Mind, a Simplified Study. Anyway, let's go with the track listing, starting from
the first track to the last. So the first track on Dance Trance Randall is Project AKO, surgically removed on Reinforced Records. Then you got Wax Doctor, The Saint, the original mix on Reinforced Records, which is unreleased. Then you have Soundman, Wishing on a Dream, the 94 lick on Jetstar Records. Shimon, Predator on Ram Records. DJ Lee and Gwanj, Too Deep on Legend Records. That's number 2 and then Deep. Parallel World, Contagious on Good Looking Records. DJ Gwanj and Spin Back, The Execution on Legend Records. Trinity, Chapter 20 on V Records. However, on the reissue they're claiming it's Dillinger, Chapter 19 on V Records. Then you have Ronnie Size and DJ Crust, Formulate. And then side A ends. On side B is the ending of that track and mixes into a track called Unit 1, Love Me on Creative Wax Records, which is produced by Alex Reese and Wax Doctor. Then you've got Busy Bee, Tough Head, dub mix on One Nation Records. Then you've got Studio Pressure, Resolution on Photech Records. Coda, Space Tech, DJ Records. Ascend or Ascend and Ultra Vibe, What Kind of World on Back to Basics Records. Flynn and Flora, String for String on Full Cycle Records. LTJ Bookham and Pesce, 19.5 on Good Looking Records. And the last track is Scan, Chainsaw on 24 Carat Records, but it's also known as Scan, Not Sorry. Right, Dreamscape 8, New Year's Eve 1993. You had a specific tape. You had the Groove Rider mix, known as the Godfather, and you had the Clarkey mix, which is on the A side, which is a techno mix. I want to talk about a Groove Rider mix, which is a jungle mix, on the B side. That mix is only 25 minutes long, but it's a really good mix, and it's probably my second or third bestest mix out of all mixtapes I've had in the past. I get a bit confused with the track listing on this, but I do my best. The first track is DJ Crystal Meditation on DJ Records, or Lucky Spin. The second track is DJ Rap and Ashton, Jeopardy. I'm not sure if it's a Desired State mix or another mix, I can't remember, and that's on Suburban Bass Records. Then you got Nookie, T3 or T3 on Reinforced Records. Then you've got that creepy, eerie track that sounds like a cellar, which is called The Alliance First Impressions. No, it could be Legend Records or it could be Reinforced Records. It's the same track, whatever label it is, but the first press was on Legend Records and then the second press was on Reinforced Records. As I said earlier, you had the acetate 10-inch press on Legend Records, and then it was released on Enforcers 6 on Reinforced Records in 1994, and also obviously the acetate was released in 1993. Then you have International Rude Boys Paragon remix. I think it might be a DJ Ratty remix, I'm not sure, on Formation Records. Then you got Mad Dog, I've forgotten what the track's called now, I think that's right. Then you've got Dark and Moody Volume 4, which is produced by DJ SS on Formation Records. Then you've got The Undergraduates, Into the Future. That's Into the Future. I think it's a massive mix, I'm not sure, on Camden Tunes. And then it goes into Intense, The Quickening, on Rugged Vinyl Records. So that completes that track listing. There's a few errors possibly, but I think that's pretty much. When it comes to Mad Dog, I've forgotten what the track's called. I had a Top Buzz Dance trance mix as well many years ago. Again, that's in the head cover, same as a Randall tape, but I've had 3 different Top Buzz tapes in that specific tape cover. The very first one started off with Subsequence You're the One on 2's Up recordings, but the tape got tangled, so I decided to get a replacement in Tech Check, and they gave me another tape which is my preferred mix. I believe it's Top Buzz, The Sound of Summer, July 1993, but I can't guarantee that's the correct information. I can give you the track listing. Obviously, it's quite a confusing track listing, but I'll do my best. So it starts off with What's My Code, dub plate, Simply Rolling mix. I've forgotten the label. Then it goes into Q Project Champion Sound, the original mix, on Legend Records. Then it goes into Jim Polo, The Night Rider, on Dark Horse Records. Cloud 9, The Dreamer, Moving Shadow Records. Tom and Jerry, also known as 4 Hero, Yamming Snacks Like Shaggy, on Reinforced Records, but is also known as Shell when it comes to the Tom and Jerry presses. Might be FBD Project, The Core, Banging Tunes. I can't remember. Does it get confused here on this part? DJ Crystallize was in there somewhere on side A. What else? Outer Intelligence, Fool's Gold was on there. That's the Fool's Gold that's on the flip side of Tales from the Unexpected. Then it drops into Nookie Chaos, AAS mix, and then it goes into side B. Side B I might do a little bit better than side A, because obviously I've not listened to the tape for 20 years, so it's difficult to remember the order of the tracks. So you start off with Nookie Chaos AAS mix on side B, then you've got Cloud 9 Mr. Logic on Moving Shadow Records. Then it's Essence of Aura, Can I Dream, the original version. I think it's Outstanding Records. Then you've got the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Drowning in Her, Tone Deaf Records. The Deceivers, Darkness Becomes Me, I think that's produced by DJ Crust. It might be Mannix, Heading to the Light, I'm not sure. I can't remember what the label is. Then you had Static Substance, Happiness. Persons Unknown, Release Yourself. I've forgotten the label. DJ Tango, Future Followers, the original version on Formation Records. Metalheads, DJ Goldie, Saint Angel, but I'm not sure what mix it is of that specific track, and that's the end of the tape. On that specific tape, it doesn't have a it doesn't come in, it doesn't fade in, it doesn't fade out. It's just a rapid start and a rapid ending on both sides. DJ Ratty was another interesting tape, the Mission Control, because I had that in the tape cover with the head on it as well. And again, I bought that from Tech Check, and that's another good tape. That starts off with Codename John featuring Groove Rider, Dreams of Heaven, Shorty's mix on Prototype Records. Then DJ Gwanj, New Creation, the Alliance remix, the unreleased version on Legend Records. Undercover Agent, Time Travel on Formation Records. I don't want to get mixed up with Splash Records because I keep on thinking of Undercover Agent's Rougher Part 3. After Time Travel, you got DJ Ratty Step Back in Time, Formation Records. Lee and Tango, Solutions, Legend Records. Omni Trio, Through the Vibe, Bongo Mix, Moving Shadow Records. That's the Bongo Mix, not the Bongo Beats edit, because they're two separate versions. This is Bongo Mix from Omni Trio Volume 4 EP, which is a green record. DJ Ratty, Source of All Evil, DJSS remix. Hedgehog Affair, The Pipe, Sound Entity Records. I think it goes into Q Project and Spinback and Gwanj, Lively Connection, I'm not sure. Again, I've not listened to this tape for 20 years. I'm not sure if Area 39 was on there by International Rude Boys featuring Matrix, I can't remember. You definitely had DJ Seduction subbed up DJ SS Rollers mix on there, on Impact Records. You definitely had that one on there. You have Ronnie Size, it's a jazz, Ronnie Size and DJ Die, it's a jazz thing, the Electric Boogie mix. Trying to think. Hedgehog Affair, Monomania, Sound Entity. Hyperon Experience, Lord of the No Lines, Randall and Nookie remix, Moving Shadow Records. DJ Ratty, Bells of Dawn, Jumpin' Jack Frost remix. I think that's all I can remember on that one, but it's not bad considering I've not looked at the track listing or listened to the mix for 20 years. The track listing I've looked at in recent times, but I haven't listened to the tape, because when I sort of think of the track listings, I try and think of the tracks that are on the, mixed together in the tape. But it's very difficult this day and age when you've not heard the tapes for so many years and don't have the tapes anymore, or the mixes. There's a Kenny Ken tape. Obviously I know the Mission Control, again I can get confused on the Mission Control. That starts off with Hyperon Experience, Lord of the No Lines, I can't remember what version it is, into Baby Kane's Rude Project Thunder track, White House Records. And then obviously it goes into, I can't remember the name of the track, Hard Feelings or something like that. Anyway, I want to talk about another Kenny Ken tape I had in the same cover. So it's a head cover, but they put miscellaneous tapes in there, but it's mostly Mission Control that's supposed to be in that tape cover. However, the Fallout tape's an interesting one. I'll come to that straight after I come out after this Ratty one. So Ratty starts off with Engineers Without Fears, Spiritual Aura. I think it's the DJ Ray Keith remix, I'm not sure. Proper Talent. Mental Power, Unknown Intelligence. Formation Records, Code of Practice Infiltrate, Certificate 18 Records, Rough with the Smooth Twisted Girl Basement Records, DJSS The Rollout Formation Records, Sacred Core Dark Cops Remix number 2 Pursuit Records, what's the next one? I think it's After Dark Side Impact, After Dark Recordings, not sure on that one. Then you've got Dillinger Deadly Deep Subs, the original mix. Then on side B it goes into International Rude Boys featuring Matrix Area 39 Formation Records. What's the next track? I think it might be Spinback Q Project and Gwange Lively Connection. Again, I get a bit confused on the side B because again it's another tape I've not heard for 20 years. Just a minute, I'm going to have to stop this until that loud bike gets out of the way because I can't think straight. Right, so after that it goes into DJ Ratty on the Techno Tip Formation Records, Fast Floor on a Level Smooth Records, or Entity Records, one of the two. There's a few seconds of DJSS, the intro, Formation Records, and then it goes into Van Cleef, You and I, and then it goes into Van Cleef, Life Began Changing. Then after that it goes into System AD, Darringer Street, Homegrown Records. Then it goes into Tango and Fallout, The Violator Volume 1. And then basically the tape ends to what I can remember. Right, so my penis has been shooting up to a 9 and 10 times loud bike to an erection from midnight on the nail to 7 minutes past, and initially started while trying to explain the track listing of the DJ Ratty tape that's in the world. The DJ Ratty tape that's in the world in a pendulum cover. I was going to do the Kenny Ken, but I got confused. So you had the head cover, but you also had the world on a pendulum, which is taken from a book called Hamish McRae, The World in 2020, which is basically connected to the head cover one that I mentioned, the medical book. So that's got again, it's got 2 triangles in white squares on the back of the tape cover that say Dance Trance the Future, but with a red back or an orangey red sort of back cover, and it says mastered from Data Originals. And then obviously you've got in yellowy writing it says the DJ name, and then obviously the orangey red thing on the side of the cover, and then obviously on the front it's like a black cover with a world spinning on a pendulum. So that's the Ratty tape that I bought. I did have Kenny Ken Dance Trance as well in that tape cover, and I found out that the event that's from is Strictly Jungle. So although it's listed as Dance Trance, I did find out later on that that specific mix was Dance Trance Strictly Jungle. Anyway, let's talk about the Kenny Ken tape that was in the head cover with the dribbling lip again, shall we? Because I went on to the Ratty one for some reason. Not thinking straight, probably because I'm tired. Right, so the Kenny Ken one starts off with Marcus Intellect, or what's known as Dart Intellect, What You're Gonna Do. Then it goes into Chris B, The Dark Side of the Jungle Crispy remix. Then it goes into I've forgotten who does it now, but the track's called All Massive. I think it's on Soap Bar Recordings, I'm not sure. Then it goes into Atlas Second Heaven DJ Recordings. Then it goes into Tribe of Isaiah, also known as X Project, called Jar Sunshine, the unreleased dubplate mix on Congo Natty Recordings. Then it goes into I think it's the House Cruise Superhero My Night on Production House Records. Then it's Dar Dogs Non-Stop Primetime Wax Recordings, produced by Joe Brody, which is the same producer that does the remix of Shining, I think, or Shining track, that's on Jungle Massive Volume 1, Collective 1, the HFCD 42 version. Anyway, back to the mix. After the Dar Dogs Non-Stop, it's 4 Hero, also known as Tom and Jerry Maximum Booty Style Part 2. Reinforced Records, also Shell Records on that label. I think it's Dillinger Calculus Beats, I'm not sure. Get a bit confused there on this part. I know that the You Don't Know is on there. I think it's Dillinger, or Dillinger, however it's pronounced. No, I think that, no, actually no. I think Calculus Beats might be the actual end track and then start of side B. Then it goes into Renegade the Terrorist Groove Rider remix. Oh, well, that was after that. Then I get a bit confused. I thought the Music Box is on there by Ronnie Size and DJ Cruss, I'm not sure. Leviticus the Burial, possibly. I've forgotten. I think it might be the Ladies' Mate. I can't remember what mix it is. Forgotten. Let's get to Jazz Juice, Precious Materials, which is produced by Wax Doctor and Alex Reese. Then you have Dread Bass. Then you have Dillinger, or whatever, a track called Warrior. Deadly Vinyl Records. Then it's Chimera, Deeper Life. And I think that's where the tape ends. And I think it's a rapid ending on that part. I think it comes in, you're supposed to have 2 bell sounds at the start of Dart Intellects or Marcus Intellects, what you're going to do. But on that tape it only starts off with 1 bell sound. But it ends, smooth ending on side A and fades in back on side B, but it goes to a rapid ending on the last track on side B. Right, Fallout tape's an interesting one, because that's another early tape I bought. Again, it's in the dribbling, well, I don't call it dribbling head cover, it's that specific head cover that I mentioned. We start off with Pesce World of Music, Infrared Records. As it mixes into Master Safe Rolling with the Punches, Formation Records, the tape ends and then goes into Insolent Bow, Need You, but it's also known as Redneck Need You, on 24 Karat Records. Then it goes into Tango Project One Remix, Formation Records. DJ Rap Get Raw, possibly. I get confused on this part. Hang on, no I don't, hang on. Randall and Andy C sound control. Ram Records. Now I get a bit confused. Somewhere around there you've got Tango and Fallout, the Violator, Volume 1A, Volume 1 Side A, and also you've got what's the other track? DJ Fallout, the Ripper, from the Storm Warning EP. I get a bit confused because the tracks are not that great after Pesce World of Music on side A, until you get to Tango and Fallout, the Violator Volume 1, and then obviously you've got School of Hard Knocks, Can You Feel It, Grand Lancey or something like that. Then it goes into Fallout's Storm Warning EP again with Love Me. Then it cuts out into Ascend or Ascend and Ultra Vibe, What Kind of World. I'm trying to think what happens then. DJ Ratty, Source of All Evil, from Taste of Things to Come EP, Formation Records. DJ Nut Nut and Pure Science, The Rumble, Boom Shaka Mix from Production House Records. Omni Trio, Renegade Snares, Foul Play Remix, Moving Shadow Records. Hyperon Experience, Disturbance Tango Remix. Hyperon Experience, Lord of the No Lines, Danny Styles Remix, side, I'm not sure what side, I think it's side B. There's only 500 copies released of the original press on that. It's been reissued by Night Force Records in recent times. DJ Ratty, Step Back in Time, Formation Records, and the final track is Tango and Ratty or something like that, and it's called Time Bomb Remix. My Uncle Dave knew a milkman called Brian in Willabington many years ago, and he drove a gas van. He had a specific tape which was quite good. It's called LTJ Bookham and Pilgrim, Citra, or Sutra. When it came to the LTJ Bookham part of the mix, it was really good. I wasn't keen on the Pilgrim mix because it's more old school rave, but the Dark Jungle mix by Bookham was a really good mix. I know the track listing to that as well. It's only a few tracks, but it's quite a good mix. Right, the first track is called In My Soul, 2000 AD recordings, but I've forgotten what the artist is. Then it goes into LTJ Bookham Music, Happy Raw, Good Looking Records. LTJ Bookham Atlantis, I Need You, Good Looking Records. Pesce, Warning, that's the track that goes Reaching Out. Then it goes into Busy Bee and Deluxe, Take a Deep Breath, which is also known as a Darkness track. That's on Brain Recordings, and there's a dub plate mix. I'm just acting a bit weird in the graveyard. It looks like there's like there's a good timing considering we're on the Darkness track, you know, the Busy Bee track, talking about the Busy Bee and Deluxe, right? Look like there's a skeleton walking in the graveyard, but obviously I don't believe in that shit. If a ghost is going to return, they're going to return in a normal form, not a pathetic form. So I do believe in that sort of thing, but not in a non-rational way. Right, anyway, the next track after Busy Bee and Deluxe, Take a Deep Breath dubplate version on Brain Records is LTJ Bookham and Taylor, Bang the Drums, and that's the last track on that mix. On Dance Trance, Jumpin' Jack Frost Mission Control, 2nd of the 4th 1994, track listing on RollerBeats.com. They made a bit of a mistake. Delindra and Mystery did a track called Deep Love, and that's the proper track that should be on the Jumpin' Jack Frost mix, and it's titled on the internet as Sovereign Melody, which is the actual wrong title. It is actually Deep Love, and I used to have that Jumpin' Jack Frost mix in the head cover, and it's a good tape. I'd be a bit confused with the track listing on that one, because I don't remember it that well. I can go through some of the tracks. Roger Johnson, One on One. Goldie, VIP Rider's Ghost. It might be, I'm not sure, it'll be a Music Box might be was on there. Danny Breaks for the Thinking Positive crew. Drop-in Science, Suburban Bass Records basically. What else? Bit of confusion. You had DJ Tactics, The Way, Shadow VIP mix possibly, I'm not sure. Then you had Subnation, Scotty 3 remix, and that's the track that gets spun back and played again. I think it's Omni Trio, Living for the Future after that. Then it goes into The Invisible Man, the Bell tune. Good looking records. Again, I get confused because when it comes to the Frost tape, it's sort of one of the tapes I least listened to. It's probably at least 25 years ago when I listened to that specific tape. Remark, Ricky. No, hang on. No, FBD Project, Just Wanna Live. Then, well, I can't remember which way around it is. No, it's actually Just Wanna Live is before Ricky, and then it's Ricky, and then it's again I get confused. Deep Blue Helicopter tune, VIP mix. I think Foul Play Beach track is on there if I remember. Ronnie Size, Eye Water. Yeah, it's not an easy one to remember on that one. I wouldn't remember the rest. It's too difficult. If I obviously I've had the tape, and I did used to know the track listing a bit better than I do now, but obviously over time I've sort of forgotten. Another good track is Noise Factory Dream. That's a track I don't think that actually got on a Dance Trance tape. Well, there's two versions of it. The vinyl version is different to the CD version. It's only been released, there's one specific version that's only been released on Hardcore Jungleistic Fever Volume 1, and that's the original. The record version I think is a remix, though I can't be certain on that. And basically there's a suggestion between the two. So Noise Factory Dream, the original version suggests, makes a suggestion of streetlights, the old mercury vapour type on the telegraph poles, you know, the old fashioned 1950s, 60s ones or whatever, where the record version makes a suggestion of the round cone type of streetlights. That's just like a symbolic suggestion to make it easier to describe the two versions of that specific track. And that's on Kemet Records, but it's been released on Strictly Underground Records. Is Hardcore Jungleistic Fever Volume 1. That track is one of the only good tracks on there. You do have Paradise on there as well, which is an okay track, but it's not one of my favourites, although it's one of those sorts of heavy aim and break jungle tracks. I still prefer Noise Factory Dream than Infinity and Basics Paradise track on there. And Hardcore Jungleistic Fever Volume 2 doesn't have any decent tracks on there at all. It's all crap. Earlier I mentioned Rhythm Process and 1994 by Rev P, which is produced by Peter Parsons on Impact Records. Well, Impact Records is actually mostly a happy hardcore label, but before the happy stuff came in, there was a lot of jungle stuff that was released on that label, and the catalogue number for that record is IMP 22. Well, they set up a database of all their back catalogue for people to download, and they forgot to add that one to the list. Since that time, it's actually closed down, so you can't get any of their tracks anymore. But they never uploaded that for people to download the 1994 track by Rev P. Rhythm Process is the main track for that record, but obviously, like I said, Rhythm Process is a load of crap. It's like commercial old school jungle track, where 1994 has a bit more of a technological intelligent sound to it, and there's a bit more rare groove sounding with some new age sound effects in it. I can't remember who did the record, but the bit where it says Beautiful Woman is actually by a black singer. I did have it in my top of my head earlier, and I wanted to mention who sang that record and where that sample came from, and also the breakdown part of that track is actually from, I think Peter Parsons used a sample from a cartoon to actually make that breakdown part of the track, though I'm not certain on that. I did find out once where the actual breakdown section came in on that Rev P 1994 and where it's taken from, but I cannot remember. I'm pretty sure it's a cartoon, one of the samples anyway, so I'll let you know if on another video if I can find that information out again. On Drum and Bass Selection Volume 2 Breakdown Records, that was released in 1994, there's a track on there, I think it's track 5 on CD 1, is titled Lick Back Organisation Maniac Music Lick Back VIP Mix on Suburban Bass Records. Well, that's produced by Greg Samuel, but the actual sample on there, many people are going to mistake it as if it's saying there's a new God. It doesn't actually say that. It says it's a new dawn, and it's taken from, I can't remember if it's 1960s or 1970s program or film or something like that, but that's where that sample comes from. Right. 00:43 AM. Well, firstly, it's sick cunt Justin being shot down said. Then there's gunshots at the time I just said. Being shot dead Justin molested Kimberley said. And there's been no traffic, no loud bikes or nothing like that, but there's been a few threats from people walking past, well, drinking basically. Alcohol, that is, because obviously I'm drinking as usual. It's been quite a crafty night actually. There's been quite a lot of vehicles.
A man opens his boot, and flashes his lights. There's been break-in threats, and there's someone that's had a go at me saying, if you complain about having a break-in, I'll smash your fucking brains out and fucking knife you to the fucking floor, you sick cunt. And basically saying once you've had a break-in, it's kicking off and that everyone's going to fucking stab you and fucking smash you out and all the rest of it. And making it clear it's on sexuality when I've never had anyone in my life, or never molested children, or never had sex with children. But there's nothing you can do about it because the creator, or whoever's causing it, is buckled. Gun sound. I forgot what I've written there. Sick cunt Justin, fruitcake, everything's gone. Everything's lost. Everything we're kicking off after this, you little bastard. We're laughing in our face, we're laughing in your face. Well, that's alright, because I can laugh as well, because I can write Bomb Hinkley Point Power Station everywhere. And I'll never forgive you. It'd be fucking sliced in wrist for the end of fucking time, alright? I've lived up to my fucking name just in fucking time, alright? Christ, you buckled sexual slaughter, fucking tear it away. Right, black, white, sick, 1:51 AM, roughly 40 cars to timed on the bridge, but the torch is playing up, so the torch is not, and the cars are colliding and whatever. 4 bikes directions after that, 5 cars in my direction, 54 minutes past 1 in the morning, and what you can hear there, basically.